Hey, what's up guys, it's Samer. How are you guys doing today? Hope you're having a fantastic day today. We're going to be doing the halfway season predictions for Major League Baseball. Game 81 was just the other day, so we're a few games past, but we're using, I think it was all the same. If not, we're using it right now. It's a little bit afterwards. We have all the standings in this bracket right here, all the current standings. So if the season were to end today, these are all the current standings, and then we're going to use a list randomizer to find out which is the winner and who will move on and who will win the World Series. So we're doing it right now. So currently right now the wild card is the Rays and the Rangers, which is actually, those two are playing right now. Those two teams are playing right now. The Rangers are winning. It could be a little foreshadowing. You got the Yankees and the Astros. The Twins will play the wild card winner because they have the best record as of right now. The National League side, we have the Cubs and the Braves playing in the NLDS. We have the Brewers and the Phillies for the wild card. Brewers are only back in their division by one game to the Cubs, so that's close. It's always the best division. The NL Central is always the best division, besides maybe the East, but no, the Central right now is better. And the Dodgers, who are obviously going to win the division. They have the best record right now, so they get to play the wild card winner. So we'll randomize this. We'll go into our list randomizer. We're going to start on the AL side just because I watched the AL. I actually prefer the NL, but I like NL better. I like seeing pitchers hit. And I do also like DH because if you can't play defensively, then, you know, you can still hit. I prefer how the NL plays it, but my team's in the AL. So the Rays and the Rangers. So I made one of these videos early in the year, like at the very beginning of the season. And it was like a week into the season. And I would randomize it 5 times each. And then I realized, hey, I can just fucking randomize it as like to get the wins. The wild card is just one game, but the DS is like best of 5. I should just do that. Yeah, so the Rays and the Rangers, we're going to randomize that. It's one game, so whoever wins that game moves on to the ALDS. And here we go. The Rangers are going to win the wild card. So the Texas Rangers will be playing the Minnesota Twins in the ALDS. So we got the Brewers and the Phillies on the National League wild card side. One game again, randomize it. Whoever wins moves on to the NLDS. And the Brewers. So the Brewers move on to the NLDS as they will be playing the Los Angeles Dodgers, a rematch of last year's National League Championship Series. So the Yankees and the Astros are in the ALDS, the first ALDS. So we'll randomize them. Whoever wins best of 5. Yeah, it's best of 5. So whoever wins that will move on to the ALCS. Game 1 goes to the Yankees. Game 2 goes to the Astros, so they're tied 1-1. Game 3 goes to the Yankees, so 2-1. Game 4 goes to the Yankees. So the Yankees will move on to the ALCS. New York Yankees will be playing in the ALCS. For the NLDS, the first NLDS, the Cubs and the Braves. So we'll randomize that. Chicago Cubs win Game 1. Chicago Cubs win Game 2. So can they sweep it? And the Chicago Cubs will sweep the NLDS. The Chicago Cubs will be moving on to the NLCS, where they will be ever so closer to a World Series champion. They have the Minnesota Twins and the Texas Rangers. Game 1 goes to the Twins. Game 2 goes to the Twins. Game 3 goes to the Twins. So the Twins will sweep the Rangers. That'll probably happen. The Minnesota Twins will be playing the New York Yankees in the American League Championship Series this year. So we have the Milwaukee Brewers and the Los Angeles Dodgers in the other NLDS. We'll randomize that. Game 1 goes to the Dodgers. Game 2 goes to the Dodgers, and Game 3 goes to the Dodgers. So the Dodgers sweep NLDS, and will be moving on to the NLCS. So here are the final 4 teams: the New York Yankees, the Minnesota Twins, the Chicago Cubs, and the Los Angeles Dodgers. This is a best of 7 series, so the first to 4 wins will move on to the World Series. I honestly don't know why they do that. I think the wild card, well, I think the wild card shouldn't exist. I think they should add 2 teams, have 8 division of 4 teams. How it is, I feel like the wild card should be 1 game, and it is. DS should be best of 3. CS should be best of 5, and the World Series should be best of 7, which it is. That should be how it is. Anyway, Yankees, Twins, best of 7. Here we go. Game 1 goes to the Twins. Game 2 goes to the Yankees, so they're tied 1-1. Game 3 goes to the Twins, 2-1. Game 4 goes to the Yankees, so they're tied 2-2. Game 5 goes to the Twins. If the Twins win the next one, they will move on to the World Series. So here we go. Game 6 is the Yankees. So we have Game 7 between the Minnesota Twins and the New York Yankees. Who will win? Who will win the American League Championship Series? Here we go. Find out in a Game 7. The Minnesota Twins will be moving on to the World Series. We have the Chicago Cubs and the Los Angeles Dodgers for the National League Championship Series. Game 1 goes to the Chicago Cubs. Game 2 goes to the Chicago Cubs. Game 3 goes to the Chicago Cubs. If they win Game 4, they move on to the World Series. And Game 4 will be the Chicago Cubs. So the Chicago Cubs sweep the Dodgers in the National League Championship Series, and they move on to the World Series. There's our bracket. Minnesota Twins and Chicago Cubs are in the World Series. The Minnesota Twins and the Chicago Cubs, here we go. Best of 7, first to 4. Game 1 is the Minnesota Twins. Game 2 is the Chicago Cubs. Game 3 is the Chicago Cubs, so they're leading 2-1. Game 4 is the Chicago Cubs, so they're leading 3-1. So if the Chicago Cubs win this game, they win the World Series. Game 5. The Chicago Cubs are going to win the World Series at the halfway prediction mark. There's the final bracket. Chicago Cubs are going to win the World Series according to the halfway mark and this website that I decided to use. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? All the Cubs fans out there. All right, guys, I'll probably do this right when the postseason starts. Right before any of the wild card games, I'll see all the teams that are leading the divisions in the wild card who are going to be making to the postseason, and then I'll do this again. But yeah, I just thought this was a cool idea. I like doing these. These are fun videos to make. Anyway, guys, if you guys like this video, leave a like on it. If you dislike this video, leave a dislike and a hate comment telling me exactly what I did wrong. Be sure to subscribe to notifications, and as always, goodbye, kitty cats.